Good morning to all of you. So today we are going to study a very important phenomena and a very important device. You must be observing this instrument. This is known as gyroscope. A very difficult topic in physics, a complicated topic. And why it is complicated? Because we have been studying rotation. And in the rotation we find that the bodies are rotating about some fixed axis, or the axis is not changing its direction. Here we will see that in the gyroscope the axis can rotate in any direction, and that is why it is quite a complicated subject, difficult subject, but at the same time very interesting. Now let me ask you, have you ever encountered something in your life, in your childhood, where the axis is changing? Something is rotating and the axis is changing. I hope you have seen this and you have used this toy. This is the top, which is known as Lattu. Alright? And when this Lattu rotates, it is a very complicated physics. Now can you tell me that suppose say when it is vertical it's perfectly fine, and then its speed decreases and slowly it tilts, and when it tilts it rotates, it spins, and at the same time it is rotating like this. That means it is spinning, at the same time it is doing a orbital motion. Alright? Now, why is it doing an orbital motion? It can fall down like this, but it is not falling. It is doing an orbital motion. Now, can you tell me that if the spinning is clockwise or anti-clockwise, whether it should rotate like this or it should rotate in the opposite way? These are all very difficult questions. I have bought this recently from Amazon, and but I am unable to actually play this top because it is slipping. The string is slipping. So unfortunately I cannot play it now. But I hope you remember, and it has a very interesting physics. Now this gyroscope has a lot of interesting applications also. Now as you see, the applications, mainly there are two major areas where there are applications. One major area is the stability. The gyroscope increases the stability of the system. As you will see now, it increases the stability. The second one, based on which there are a lot of applications, is that it is used to find out the direction. Because, like as you see, I have written down a lot of applications. One of the application is inertial navigation system. Now in the inertial navigation system, one can find out the velocity, acceleration as well as the direction. Used in the ships, used in aircrafts, used in missiles, different places they are used. And there what happens that this particular gyroscope rotates at a very high angular velocity, and the ship or the missile or the aircraft, it may rotate, but it does not give any torque to the this particular gyroscope. That is also one of its property. It doesn't get a torque, and that's why it will maintain its direction. So one can see that once the direction is fixed, it will be fixed in that reference frame. So that will be a kind of reference direction, and from there one can find out that how much the aircraft has changed its angle from the vertical. So that is also a direction. So there are many other applications. It is used in unmanned aerial vehicles, gyro theodolites, which are used in mines. Then it is used in gyro compass, and so there are other places where it is used. So as you see that gyroscope, mostly when we talk about gyroscope, it is the axis can change in any direction. The axis can rotate in any directions. So let us see now. Let us observe what is this gyroscope. This is basically a gyroscope which we use in our lab, our physics lab, and the students of the first year, they do the experiments through this. So a long time back we purchased this gyroscope. So let me see. Now what do you see over here, that there is a heavy wheel over here, alright? This wheel is heavy, and in this particular setup, this is balanced by this weight. So presently, it is little difficult to balance, but once I balance it, it is balanced actually. Okay. Now what I do, that I add a small weight, okay, small weight over here. I can add over here, I can add over here. Now tell me, if I add a weight over here, what will happen? I am adding a weight over, now it is balanced. It is totally, almost balanced. It is very difficult to balance that way, exactly, but it is almost balanced. Now if I add a weight, what will happen? It is very natural that obviously vector r cross mg, a torque will be applied and it will rotate like this. Let us see. So I am adding over a weight over here. You see, I am adding a weight over here, small weight, and now I leave it. Obviously it is falling down. It is rotating in this direction. R cross mg, so the torque in this direction and the rotation in this direction. Perfectly fine with our knowledge of physics. Now what I do, that I give a angular velocity, spin to this. So this is a large wheel, let us spin. So what will happen? I can spin in my direction, I can spin in that direction. So let us spin in my direction. So I spin. Now also it is stable, as you see it is stable. Now I add over the weight over here. What will happen now? Should it go down? Let us see. Anything you would like to predict? It should go down, isn't it? That is what our intuition says. But see, it is not going down. It starts rotating in a circle. Why does it happen? It is a quite interesting phenomena. It is not falling down. It has attained a stability, and now it is rotating in a circle. Okay, let me do something else. Can you tell me why this happens? Okay, let us rotate in the reverse direction. So let me rotate in the reverse direction. And let us see what happens now. I add the same weight. Now it rotates in the opposite direction, that is clockwise. Initially it was anti-clockwise. Now it is clockwise. So second observation. First observation, second observation. Now what I do, the moment I open, it stops. Okay. Now let me see. I rotate slowly. I rotate slowly. And then I add over here. Well, now it falls down, but some observation, there are two observations that we find. One is it rotates faster, alright, rotates faster. Something else also happens. Now we can see that effect in a little bit more weight. Now I add a larger weight. It still rotates, but something happens. Can you observe? There are two things that you can observe. One is, it is rotating faster. This particular omega has increased, it is rotating faster. And second thing that you observe, that it is doing some motion like this. Alright. Now that motion is known as nutation, that we are not going to study in our topic today, because that is not in our course, because everything we cannot cover. But the moment I increase the torque, it is, rotating faster. It is undergoing faster motion. So this is the observation we have seen. Now let us see the physics behind it. Alright. When the gyroscope is at rest, okay, this I have not shown you, that it can rotate in any directions. This is one direction, this is another direction, and all these directions it can rotate actually. And this is another. So all the three axes, this is your x-axis as shown over here. This is one axis, and this is another axis, the z-axis about which it is rotating, and this is also another axis about which it can rotate. The other axis, that is your y-axis. Now, when the gyroscope is at rest, what are the forces? We may find that some resultant force is working on it, but no, the resultant force is zero. As you see, this is our gyroscope, little bit different in configuration, little bit different. Here we have balanced actually, it is not balanced. So it is a pivot and it is resting over here. So there is a force which is your normal reaction, that is your N. And here, this is known as flywheel. The flywheel is very heavy and its weight is acting downward. So this is W. So when we are balanced actually, or here it is not balanced that way, okay, fine. So the net force is, these two forces balance each other. So net force is N minus W is equal to 0. So when the gyroscope is at rest, the net force is 0. There is no net force. Net force is 0. The forces are working. But these two forces, they form a couple. That means it gives a torque. Mostly this force is giving a torque. So the net torque is your R cross F. So R cross W, R cross mg, that is your tau P. Now why I have written tau P? This is about the point P. As we have studied, that torque and angular momentum is always about a fixed point. So here it is fixed point P. Tau P in the direction j cap. So R cross mv in the direction of j cap. So this is my x-axis, this is y-axis, and y-axis is inside the page and z-axis is above. So tau P into j. Now here, since it is not balanced, obviously the gyroscope falls down because of the torque, and this is the dotted line I have shown where you see that the gyroscope falls down. So this is about the rest position. Obviously this is little bit different, and here we are not balancing it, so it is falling down because of the net torque. I hope this is clear to you that at rest the forces which are acting, the torque which are acting. Okay. Now here obviously at rest the net torque is 0 because of this force and the balance by this one. So both of them the torque is 0. It's okay. Now in motion, and how we are basically here we are giving the torque by the small weight. Okay, that is how we are giving the torque. Now in motion, when the gyroscope is in motion, as we see, the way we talk about is, we always talk about this angular momentum vector. LS means angular momentum because of spin. So it is spin. So it is spinning here, it is spinning in the anti-clockwise direction, and LS vector is in this direction. So torque is basically in that direction and it is rotating like this. Now this particular motion, which is like or what, it is a orbital motion. This motion is known as precession. Alright. this motion is known as precession. So this orbital motion is known as precession, and this is known as spin. Okay. Now we have to see that this is the observation what we have observed, and few other observations also we have seen. Now we will see that why this precession is there. What is the physics behind it and why it is happening. Now let us see this. Come to this particular figure. Now here what we find, that there is a rotation of this flywheel, and this rotation, the flywheel is very heavy. This is very important. The flywheel is very heavy and it is rotating at a high angular velocity or angular frequency. So Ls, because of this flywheel and because of this rotation, spinning frequency is high, the Ls is quite large. So that is what we have to see. This Ls vector, which is the angular momentum because of the spin, is very high. Now what happens, that here it was not balanced, but anyway in our case what we have seen, that there is a weight. So we have given a small weight that resulted in torque. Now so that torque is giving, this torque, you will give a small angular momentum in that direction, because we know tau is equal to dl by dt, or tau vector is equal to dl by dt. So this torque in the direction of y, will give small dl, and since it is continuously this torque is there, so a very small dl will result in the change in the direction of Ls. So it is perpendicular to it, as you see. So this is the resultant L. Okay, the next line. Now immediately what happens, the torque is acting, and it is acting perpendicular to it. So small dl vector is adding, and if you add them, the resultant vector, as you can see, it starts rotating. Okay. So this is why this particular flywheel rotates when we give a small torque or small weight. This diagram is very, very clear. So this tells us that why does it precess. I hope this is clear to you. Good. Now another way to understand it here is, because this particular diagram and this particular explanation, understanding is very, very important. This is the basis of the whole of gyroscope. Now let us see little bit in a single case. Let us take one single case, so things will be more clear. What is the resultant L vector? So at rest, when it is at rest, that means you take this case, when it is at rest, the net dl vector is in this direction, net dl vector. Because of that it falls down, or the one when we have added the weight, the small weight, at rest only, it is not spinning. So at that time the dl vector is in this direction, that is your torque. Okay. Because of the torque, the dl vector is the net dl vector is in this direction. When you have rotation, that means when it is spinning, when the flywheel is spinning, at that time there is a large Ls, and you add up dl, so you get Ls plus dl, that is the final L vector in this direction. So you see the change in direction. Here the direction is vertical in this direction totally. Here the direction, how much it has changed? It is almost in the direction of Ls, because this dl is very small. So it is almost in the direction of Ls, but little bit away. So that gives the rotation. So you can see the change in the direction of when it is at rest, when it is in motion. Okay. Now let us understand this with the similar case in linear motion. Now suppose in linear case, suppose a particle is there and it is at rest. Okay. Now I apply a force. When you apply a force, what happens? If the particle is at rest, the particle will move in the direction of the force. So velocity, acceleration in the direction of the force. This is perfectly clear. Now exactly the same situation we come in motion. Again the same particle. Now the particle is having a velocity. A large velocity, say suppose, or large momentum. Okay. Now we apply a force F. Then what will happen? The force F is continuously. So the particle will not move in the direction of the force, but it will move in a curved line. The force is acting continuously, so it will move in a curved line, depending on what is the magnitude of this velocity and basically the momentum. So the momentum, because of this motion and because of the force, will add up to give the direction. And we know that if F is equal to mv square by r, whatever mv square by r is, then it will move in a circle. So this F is basically changing the direction. So we can see the similarity. This is just for your understanding, so that we can see the similarity between the linear motion and the rotational motion. Now, the thing is that again and again when we think of, because this is the basic behind the gyroscope, the way I understand personally is, that this particular gyroscope, what is that we are doing? Here, basically we are adding two rotations. Alright, it is the major wheel, it is first of all rotating along the x-axis. That is what is x-axis. So it is rotating about the x-axis. It is a major rotation, heavy wheel rotating about the x-axis. Then the moment we give a torque, that torque, when it is at rest, suppose say, it will rotate about this particular axis, that is your y-axis. It will rotate about the y-axis. But that when it is at rest. So we are adding, so this is x-axis rotation and that is your y-axis rotation. So in a gyroscope system, what we are doing, that we are adding two rotations. One is about x-axis, another is about y-axis. That is first observation. That is what I feel personally myself. The second point is, now if I have to add these two rotations, how can I add it? But before that, there is another interesting point about the gyroscope usually, and that is this particular rotation is much stronger. Now how you express that stronger? That is by a very important quantity, and that is your angular momentum. So now we see that the angular momentum we have calculated in the previous lectures. We spent a lot of time to calculate the angular momentum. Why angular momentum is so important? Whenever there is some kind of rotation, whether torque is there or not there, angular momentum is a very important quantity, because it tells us it is a product of omega and mass and how the mass is distributed. So how the mass is distributed about its axis, that is your moment of inertia, and that is product of m and r square for a symmetric one, and then you have your omega. So it is a product of everything. So angular momentum is there. So angular momentum is a way to calculate, to add the rotations. Now what we find, that in gyroscope, the one gyroscope that we are studying at present, in this gyroscope, the main wheel is too heavy, is quite heavy, and it is having a large spin, and because of that the angular momentum vector is very large. So one of the angular momentum is very large. For most of the gyroscope or other applications, what we will find, that this one vector, that is your LS vector, is very high, and the other vector, basically because of the torque, is very small. Otherwise, it will not be a kind of important study for us. We can do that as well. We can make it this DL larger and this LS smaller, but that will not make any interesting study. Okay, but obviously one can do it that way, and we can add up and see what kind of moment we will have. So so basically the two angular momentum vector we are adding together. Two angular momentum vector arising because of two different rotations about two different axes, and that is how we are predicting the motion. Now, since this angular momentum vector is very large, and that is why one of the major applications of gyroscope is stability. It is very difficult to change this. That's why when you are giving a small torque, it is it is not changing much, but it is rotating. So it gives rise to stability because of this large angular momentum vector arising because of the spin. So I hope you understand the basic physics behind the gyroscope, that it is mostly addition of two angular momentum vectors, one very large and another arising because of the torque which is very small. That is it. We will see now some everyday examples. Okay, so let us take some everyday examples. So the first example that I already told you is about the torque. So this is the torque. This is the torque. Okay. Now this we call in Hindi as lattu. We all know that. Now what you have to see, as I asked you this question, first of all we will solve this mathematically, but this top is somewhere here, and as you see in this diagram, it is rotating anti-clockwise here. Here it is clockwise rotation. Alright, here it is anti-clockwise rotation. Now it is rotating anti-clockwise. So if it rotates anti-clockwise, then in what way will it precess? And why will it precess? That is the question. Now as you see, again this top is spinning with a very high angular velocity or angular frequency. That is your omega s. So because of that, there will be now it is which direction? This direction. That is your anti-clockwise. And because of anti-clockwise, we see the L vector is something along this. So this is your LS. This is your LS. And the torque is somewhere acting from the center of mass. So vector R cross mg, the torque is basically in the direction of y. So it is the same xy direction that we have drawn, x, y, z. So maybe we can draw it once again. This is your x, this is your y, this is your z. So this is your x, y and z. So the torque is inside the page. So in what way will it precess? Obviously we have drawn the diagram just as before. So L in this direction, because of the torque there is dl in that direction, small dl. So Ls will move or will rotate in the direction of the torque. Okay. So here that direction will be this. One of the better way to do it is, here what will happen? It is just the opposite case. So it will be reverse. So it is in this direction it is rotating. Now here it will rotate in the reverse direction. Now how to do it very easily? What is the rule? Is there any rule so that we can do it without too much of tough changing our hands or fingers? So the rule is that L, the vector L, always follows the torque, because as we see over here that in the direction of the torque there is a dl vector. So obviously L is following the dl vector is torque. So L always follows the torque. So let me write down that rule. So L always follows torque. So L vector always follows torque. So let me box it. So this will help you in the exam also to find out the direction of precession. So if you find difficulty like this, you can tilt it little bit so that it is in the horizontal line, and then you can calculate. It is easier. So L vector always follows torque vector, tau. That is a general rule you can follow, and using that you can find out the direction of precession. So that is the first example, that is of a spinning top, and we have seen it is just like a gyroscope. So there are a lot of things in our life. The second example is a very, very common example, and that is of a bicycle wheel or bicycle, the whole of bicycle. Now we often say that when the bicycle is at rest, it falls down, but when it is running or somebody is riding, then it doesn't fall. So we say there is a balance. What is the physics of the balance? The physics of the balance is according to the gyroscopic principle. It is not a gyroscope, but the gyroscopic principle. Now what is the gyroscopic principle we have learned? LS vector is very large, and then there is another vector which is DL vector arising because of the torque. When we add up, it gives the stability to a system. Now we will see the physical cycle outside. But good. So this is our incubation center, which is the new building, and here I record my videos. So let us see this bicycle. Now this is the bicycle. Okay. Now in the bicycle, you have all learned your bicycle someday. So as you see that it is standing upright. Fine. It is standing upright. Now when I leave it, either it will fall on this side or it will fall on that side. When it is running, when somebody is riding, why it doesn't fall? We say that it has a balance. What is the physics behind the balance? The physics behind the balance is given by the gyroscopic principle. And what is the gyroscopic principle? A large L, and we are adding with a small dl. So when we are riding the cycle, you see the torque. What is the torque? So what will happen? When somebody is riding the bicycle, say it is falling on one side. Okay, it is falling on one side. Say this is the position. In this position, about a point O on the ground, I can take the torque. So it is R, suppose this is R cross mg. R, that is R cross mg. So R cross mg will be towards me. The tire is moving, rotating like this. So it is having a angular momentum vector, a large angular momentum vector on this side. Because of that torque, there is a dl vector. So L plus dl vector, the resultant L vector is along this direction. That means because of this tilt, the front tire will move like this. So that the resultant L is along this. Front tire will move like this. So what will happen? Suppose say a person is moving like this, is going in the street, and the tire will move like this. But the moment it moves like this, the person holding this handle, he will give a opposite torque, and the bike will be upright again. So this opposite torque will balance the torque because of the weight of the tilt. Is it clear? Next time what will happen? The bike may fall like this, but it will not fall. Why it will not fall? Again, you know, vector r cross mg. R cross mg will be that way. R mg. So r cross mg will be that way. But L is always this way. So L will follow the tau. L will follow the tau. So it will move like this. So the moment the bicycle is tilting this way, it will not fall. But the front wheel will move like this. Will move like this. Then the person who is holding the bicycle, unconsciously, he will give a opposite torque and the bicycle will be upright again. So that torque will cancel the torque because of the tilt. Because of the tilt and the weight of the bicycle. Now I will show you. Let's suppose, say, this is the bike somebody is riding and this is tilting this way. So using this tilt, if I move the bicycle, you see it is moving in this direction. Alright? The moment it is moving in this direction, it is not falling. So person will give a opposite torque and it will become upright. Now see, if it is tilting this way, there is a little bit of friction over here, but the moment actually it is tilting that way, it is going this way, as you see. The moment it is tilted this way, the tire is going this way. Again the man will give a opposite torque and it will be upright again. So this is how the balance is maintained. Now you will find, if you ever done the slow cycle race, alright, in the slow cycle a person will do like this in order to maintain it slowly, because the angular frequency of the wheel is very small. It is the angular velocity is very small. Omega s is very small. So he will do like this and he will maintain the balance. So this is all about it. So this is the bicycle, which is the car of common man, and so much of physics is there. The physics of the gyroscope and the physics of the gyroscopic principle, and because of this the balance is maintained. Thank you very much. Now let us see a very interesting example of not the bicycle but bicycle wheel. Now this is a bicycle wheel, as you all know. Now let me hold it like this. If I hold it, it is falling down. As usual, it is falling down. Okay. Now what we will do, we will rotate it. So Lakshmanji from our lab will help me to spin this bicycle wheel. Lakshmanji. Now you see, if I hold it, it is moving in this direction. Can you see this? It is precessing. Can you predict this precession? You see, you take one position, vector r cross f. Okay, let us take one position. This is my string. So vector r cross f. So r cross f is torque. Torque is towards my position, towards me. Now our Lakshmanji, he has rotated in his direction. So it was rotating like this. So rotating like this means L was in this direction, L vector. So torque towards me, L this way, because it was rotating that side. Okay, L. So in which way it will precess? L will follow the torque. L always follows the torque. So L always follows the torque. So it is rotating anti-clockwise. Is it all right? Okay. We will see something more from this. Once again, Lakshmanji. Thank you. So you see the stability, because suddenly you cannot move it. Now it is having a large L. If I want to move it, I have to give a lot of torque. It is very stable. That gives the stability. Now as you see, if I am trying to give a torque like this, it is moving in some different direction. As you see, it is moving in different directions. I am trying to lift this hand and this way and this way. So that is giving a torque, but I am not able to move it in this direction. It is moving in some other directions. Why it is happening? Because this torque basically, vector r cross f again, it is towards me. It is towards me. The torque is towards me. And the large angular momentum is this way. So the resultant angular momentum is something like this. So instead of tilting like this, it moves like this actually. Okay. Instead of, because now it is stationary, I can move like this. I can move like this easily. But the moment it rotates, it will not move in this direction, but it will move L plus dl vector. It is moving in this direction. एक बार फिर से कर दीजिए. Once again we will see that. Very good. So now as you see, again I am trying to move this hand. I will move up. It is moving. I am not. I am doing the opposite. Can you see that it is, I am not able to move it in the direction I wanted. It is a different kind of motion. So, so it gives a stability actually, and because of this, lot of places gyroscopes is used, and stability is achieved because of the large angular momentum. Okay. Let me, there are different examples. This is one of them. Let me show you the coin. This is a 10 rupee coin. And, when you rotate this coin, after some time, what happens? That the coin will try to tilt on one side. And exactly like the bicycle wheel, the moment it will tilt on the one side, it will not fall immediately since it is rolling. So what it will do, on that side it will rotate and try to make a curve. Alright. And there is a very nice problem given in Kleppner. We will solve it later, not in this class. So using this particular coin. So let me show you. So if I tilt it a little bit, it will, as long as it is going straight, it is good. But moment it tilts a little bit on the side, it will actually make a circle. So let me tilt and make it move like this. Let me tilt a little bit and move. You see, it is going in a circle. The moment it tilts on one side, it will make a circular motion on that particular side. This is all because of the gyroscopic principle. Okay. We will solve a very nice problem using this particular coin. So good. Next we will go to the mathematical formulation. Now let us come to the mathematical formulation. That what are the equations associated with the gyroscope, the one that we have studied. So as we have seen, this is the LS vector or the magnitude of LS, large LS, and this is DL. Usually this DL is very small as compared to LS. The angle formed by this, so I have taken XY plane over here, XY plane. The angle formed over this is, suppose say d theta. So in the xy plane, we have taken theta. Okay. So as we know that for small theta, sin theta is approximately equal to tan theta is equal to theta. So one can write d theta is equal to dl by ls. Omega p, basically this is the omega p. Omega p is here d theta by dt. Now d theta by dt, what is d theta? dl by ls. So we write dl by ls 1 over dt and take the dt on the together, that is dl by dt 1 over ls. So dl by dt, we know it is torque, external torque, tau by ls. So omega p is tau by ls. Now in our case, the tau is r is the distance from the pivot point, r cross mg, and they are perpendicular. So r mg, ls is, again it is a symmetric body and axis, so it is I omega s. So this relation tells us the relation between the two angular frequencies, that is your omega s and omega p. Now as you see, if angular s increases, omega p will decrease. If omega s decreases, I have shown it to you that as omega s decreases, omega p increases. That is what I showed you there in that gyroscope. Also we had seen that if the weight, when we added weight, if we increase the weight, omega p will also increase. The angular frequency of the precision will also increase. So this is a very, very important relations. And that is what. Now, one more point. Omega p in many books is written as capital omega. So in your textbook, Kleppner, also it is the same notation, I think. It is capital omega. So you should not confuse. Omega p is capital omega. This is for about z axis, I am referring to our case. So about z axis and all this, so that it is easy for you to understand about x axis. So this is omega for spinning, this is omega for the precision. All these things I have already told you. So omega p is inversely proportional to omega s. Fine. Now let us come to this section, that is what are the important formulas and how they are associated. So let us take the picture, the original picture once again. This is your gyroscope and x, y, z axis. Just to summarize, but there are certain important points that I would like to tell you. Omega, regarding the omega, we have seen that there are two omega. One is your omega s and other is your omega p. Omega s is because of the spin and omega p is because of precession. And they are related by omega p is tau by ls r mg by I omega s. This omega p is also written as capital omega. Okay. The second is the angular momentum vector L. Okay, angular momentum vector L. Now, here one point, usually we always write Ls, that is because of the spin. Angular momentum vector, because of the orbital motion, is L0. As you see, there is a spin and also orbital motion. So, because of the orbital motion, it is L0. I have written L0. This is because of precession. Now, L, the net L is Ls plus L0. dl by dt is equal to tau. Now here I want to raise two questions, because it is always better, it is always good to raise certain questions. Wherever we have confusions, we must raise the questions. Sometimes, it will take some time maybe to clear our confusions, but it is better if we can raise the questions. So the question is, why don't we talk about LO? Because it is spinning, at the same time it is having a orbital motion which we are calling precession. Just like our Earth. Earth is spinning, at the same time it is having a orbital motion. So if you calculate the total angular momentum about a particular point, it will have the angular momentum because of the spin, at the same time angular momentum because of the orbital motion. But here generally we don't talk about LO. Why is this case? That is the question. Now usually what happens, let me answer it from since I have raised the question, let me answer from my side. First of all, when you look into this particular equation, the first equation, there what we have seen, that initially there was your flywheel was spinning, and then we add a weight over there. So in that case it was basically LS only, because only LS was there. So that's why in this particular formula L, because of the orbital motion, is not coming. It is only because of LS. So LS was there, and basically the LO was not there. So this is that. Second is, in certain cases, we will see with different examples and problems, in certain cases we do have LO. In that kind of problem, the next question is about which point to calculate L and tau. Because this is also, when you start solving the problems in gyroscope, you will find that these are the problems which are coming to you. That about which point to calculate L and tau. There in our case we are calculating about a single point, that is the point of pivot. From there itself we are calculating the both L and tau. So the second case is that, first of all, in the first case there is no LO. In the second case, that there are situations where, just now I have taken the coin. Now in that case, that is the third case. Let me talk to you about the second case. In certain cases, what will happen, if you want to calculate L about a particular point, then one can calculate it, both L spin and LO. But usually, suppose say it is moving in the horizontal plane, then vector r cross mv is basically vertical, and that is a constant vector. That is a constant vector. So if you differentiate that constant vector, that will be 0. So dl by dt, that constant vector will be 0. Third case is, it is not always. Sometimes it will move like this. It is not a constant vector, the direction is changing. In that case what happens, many cases I am telling you, that the angular momentum because of the spin, we are adding these two, angular momentum spin plus angular momentum the orbital. Now the flywheel is very heavy and it is spinning very fast, so the LS is much larger than LO. So LO is neglected. Okay, that is a third case, you can say. Another case is that, suppose say both are comparable, like LS and LO both are comparable, like the case of I took a small coin and rolled it. There the spinning frequency is not that much. So there if you calculate, you can get both your LS and LO. In that case, it is better, mind it is better, the next question about which point to calculate L and tau. It is better to calculate L and tau about the center of mass. So one can calculate about a fixed point about which the body is rotating, or one can calculate L and tau about the center of mass. So if it is calculated about the center of mass, the orbital angular momentum is basically 0. Because when you calculate L from a point, it is, you take that point, first of all you calculate the L about the center of mass, that is I omega s, plus you take that body as a point mass and you R cross MV. That is how you calculate about a particular point which is outside the body. So if you calculate about the center of mass, then that LO will be 0. So these are the tips, you will use it or you will need it when you start solving problems. I hope this is clear to you. Okay. Now let us see the third point, which is very, very important. This is a very, very important formula. We are not going into the derivative of this formula. What is this formula is the time derivative of a rotating vector of fixed length. Suppose there is a vector and it is rotating and it is a fixed length and it is rotating. What will be the time derivative of that vector? We have seen such kind of vector. That is dr vector by dt is equal to v omega cross r, vector omega cross r. So what is the formula we see? That dr by dt is omega cross r. Now that applies to all the vectors which are rotating. Our L vector is rotating here. Basically it is a LS vector. So dl by dt, it is rotating with the angular frequency or angular velocity omega p cross L. Okay. So dl by dt omega p cross L. That is equal to dl by dt, we know it is tau. So you calculate tau, you calculate omega p cross L and you equate them. So you can solve a large number of problems. And that is why I have written very important. Now let us see some problems, because if we see some problems, our concepts will be totally clear. Only after solving the problems our concepts are clear. This is the top view of a spinning gyroscope. This is the top view of a spinning gyroscope. Now what is the meaning of this? It means we are looking into from the top. Okay. And it is moving like it is spinning like this. That means it is having a clockwise spin. Okay. And this is the pivot point O. So the top view of a spinning gyroscope, as seen from above, is the precession clockwise or anti-clockwise? Anti-clockwise. So we have to tell whether this particular precession will be clockwise or anti-clockwise. We know now. Now let us see the diagram, the vector diagram. Now it is rotating clockwise, so L vector is this way. So I have drawn the L vector. Okay, and vector R, follow this x and y. This is your x and y. The z axis is perpendicular to the page. So this is your LS. This is your LS. LS vector is this. Now here one point, sometimes or in some books, many places, people prefer to write this LS vector at this point from where you are calculating the L and tau. It is also okay. Most of the times we prefer to show L and tau at the point where the body is located. But one can also locate it here. Both are correct. Both are fine. Because L and tau we calculate from a point. And also the body. So the point is also important, the body is also important. So I am just concentrating on the body. So this is your LS. Where will be your tau? Tau is again, as usual we have been doing. It is vertical, that is your along y-axis. So L will follow the tau. L will follow the tau. So that means it is clockwise rotation. Clockwise rotation. L will follow the tau. That means it is a clockwise rotation. I hope this is clear. Now, part B. if the gyro takes 4 seconds for one revolution of precession, at what angular speed does the wheel spin? So we know this is very simple because omega p we can calculate. The one revolution is there, from there one can calculate omega p. 1 divided by 4 into 2 pi radian, so 1.57 radian per second. And moment we know omega p, one can calculate omega s by using this particular formula. And I think you know that you are quite thorough, and you know all these things quite well. Finally, you get 2600 revolutions per minute. Try to do it yourself and see that you are getting the same answer. This is the simplest problem that we can think of gyroscope. Okay, so now let us come to little more difficult problems. This problem that you are looking at, this is exactly the similar problem to a top. Okay, exactly similar problem to a top. Now, as you see here, that there is a flywheel gyroscope, and this flywheel is rotating. This flywheel is rotating, but it is having an angle phi with the vertical z. The question is, a gyroscope is precessing about z-axis with angular velocity omega p at an angle phi with respect to the z-axis. Prove that omega p does not depend upon phi. So whether the angle is phi or phi plus whatever, phi prime, the omega p will be the same. Okay. Now, when I was looking into the figure, the photograph of the figure, after drawing into the board, the diagram is not very clear. What is that you can see from the diagram? The flywheel is rotating clockwise or anti-clockwise. It is not very clear. Let me make it clear. This is rotating anti-clockwise. So let me do it something like this. This is doing anti-clockwise, okay? Or maybe we can write over here that this is doing anti-clockwise rotation. Now I hope it is clear. So it is doing anti-clockwise rotation. So L vector will be something like this, along this L vector. And again the same case, the tau vector is inside. So L will precess tau, so obviously it will precess in this direction. So this is the direction of precession. Is this clear to you? Or if it is confusion, just bring the flywheel back to x position along x. So L, it is the L vector, the torque vector is r cross mg inside the field, so L will follow the torque. So that means it is a anti-clockwise rotation. Okay. Now what we will do, we will exactly follow this formula, that is dl by dt omega cross L. This is very, very useful expression. In many problems you can use this expression of this particular Ls. So dl by dt omega cross L. So let us calculate omega cross L. So omega is omega p. With omega p it is rotating omega p. Ls, the angle between them. So this is your omega p and this is your Ls. This is your Ls. So omega Ls sine of phi. Sine of phi. Ls we can write I omega s, omega p I omega s sine of phi. Let us calculate T external, that is torque external, that is mg d sine phi, mg d cos phi, d sine phi is a perpendicular distance from O, so d sine phi. You can check the directions of both of them, they are the same. Now just equate them, you get omega p mgd I omega s, our usual formula. So it does not depend, omega p does not depend upon phi. Exactly the same way you can solve the problem of a top. If you are given a top and you are given some frequency of the top, angular velocity omega s, and you are asked to calculate what is the frequency omega p, exactly using this expression you can do it. You cannot write directly this formula, but you can use these expressions and you can calculate the value of omega p. I hope this is clear to you, because these are very standard problems. Two problems, easy, very standard, using this rotating vector formula. Now, the last example or problem is from the book of Kleppner. Kleppner has a good collection of problems on gyroscope, on any chapter actually. So, let us see. Here, there is a flywheel. This is a very, very important problem. There is a flywheel, the axle of which is attached to a rope, a string, and that is basically attached to a ceiling. This flywheel is rotating anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise. That means L vector is somewhere here. This is the L vector. LS. Okay. LS about, so maybe presently I just remove it. About O actually. So LS vector is there. Obviously, if the LS is that way and the tau is inside the page, so it will move like this. The question is, what angle this rope will make with the vertical? Now, why this is an important problem? Why this is an important problem? Why this is an important problem? Here, because every problem has some concepts, some confusions. If you do it, it will be clear to you. The first confusion that we have while dealing with this problem is that if we want to calculate L, obviously one can do it using different methods. One is you calculate L, you calculate tau, and dl by dt is equal to tau, irrespective of that rotating vector formula. Now, about which point to calculate L or tau? One can calculate about the point P, one can calculate about the point O. About both these points, one can calculate L and tau, about any of these points, and dl by dt is equal to tau. Using that, one can solve it. But if one take about P, then it will also have the orbital motion along with the spinning. Now, here in this case, as I told you, the orbital motion, vector r cross mv, that vector is coming out to be constant. But it may not be constant in other cases. But here it is coming out to be constant, so the derivative will be 0. But if I take about the point O, center of mass, then obviously that term drops out. Okay? So, one can calculate directly about the center of mass. It is easy. So, that is one way that about O it is simpler. About O it is simpler. So, about the center of mass, one can calculate the angular momentum L and also the torque tau, and one can solve it. Okay, now let us see that how we can do it. What are the steps behind it? First of all, one has to write out the force equations. Now here this string is given out a tension T. Resolve the tension T into two parts. One is T cos beta, the vertical one. T cos beta will be equal to mg. T sin beta will be equal to mv square by r. It is giving the necessary centripetal force. R you can take about the point P that it is rotating. So T cos beta and T sin beta, that's force equations 1 and 2, you will get two force equations. Third equation is dl by dt omega cross L is equal to tau. That is omega P cross Ls is equal to tau. About the point O, one can calculate and one can solve it. So this is a very illustrative problem. It looks difficult. Yes, it is a difficult problem. But every problem teaches us something, some concepts, some confusions are clear. So you should try these problems. There are few other problems which are difficult problems in Klippner. For that, I will make a different video, and there you can see the coin problem, and there are few other problems there. So let me summarize. So we have covered a difficult topic and a very interesting topic in physics. So what we have learned is that, as a gist, as I told you, the gyroscope, what we do, that we add two different rotations. How we measure rotations? Using the angular momentum vector. The one heavy wheel, that angular momentum is very large, and we give a small torque, and that gives a small angular momentum. So both are in different axes, perpendicular axis. So two different rotations we are adding, which are perpendicular axis. One of the rotations whose angular momentum is very high, and because of which we are getting a kind of precession. That means the L vector rotates. The L vector rotates. The physics behind it, the forces behind it, the torque behind it, and certain examples we have taken: the spinning top, then the cycle, bicycle wheel, and the rotating coin, and the important formulas. This is a very, very important formula which relates the precession frequency with the spin frequency, that is omega p versus omega s. Then we have seen that a concept which is about LO, that is the orbital angular motion, orbital angular momentum, which basically we do not take care of much, which is not much important. But this rotating vector formula is very, very important, that is dl by dt omega p cross L vector. So using that we can solve a large number of problems, and then we have solved 3 different problems we have seen, and there are some other interesting problems also which we will do later. So thank you very much.